What's up everybody, Tech Chucker here, and today I've got a review of the Hasbro Marvel Legends Sandman Wave Jackal. Now this figure, I actually don't really know that much about the character. I've seen him in the comics from time to time, but just at a glance this figure looks really cool. So let's go ahead and crack this thing open and take a closer look. Checking out the articulation on this figure, and I think Hasbro did a decent enough job. Pretty much everything is there that we would expect, minus maybe one or two things. But the head is on a ball peg with a hinge, and it works well enough. I actually prefer the length of the neck and how far down the head is more because it looks nice. But he can look up about this far. It'd be nice if it could go a little higher. Obviously the head kind of pops off fairly easily, and what I do is I kind of pull it just a hair so it's sliding off that ball so I can get just a little bit more upwards motion. But then you need to make sure you pop it back on, and he can get that chin all the way down into his chest. So pretty decent up and down. He has good side-to-side rotation. You're not going to run into any issues. There's nothing on his shoulders that's going to get in the way of that, so that's good. And pretty much no tilt, which is the biggest disappointment here. I'd really like to get a little bit of tilt in there. In the shoulders, he's got a ball hinge, which allows his arm to get all the way out. He's got full rotation of that shoulder as well, so that's good. He's got an upper bicep swivel, no issues there. Double jointed elbows, and that works really good. It looks a little funny in the elbow when you use it, but he's able to itch his ears if you need him to, which is awesome. He's got a peg joint and a hinge in the wrists, and those work very good. I'm happy with how that turned out. One thing I do wish that this figure had the butterfly joint similar to what the Wolverine figure has, or the Spidey 2099 has, but that's okay. In the torso, he's got a hinge joint and he's able to move it forward all the way. Pretty good. Back is a little bit limited. I wish he could click back one more, but the waist swivel works really good. Moving down into the hips, he's got T-jointed hip joints, or T-jointed ball joints in the hips, and not really a large amount of range of motion there. You can see here there's an issue with being able to get his feet flat on the floor, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But this is about as far as you're going to get him to do the splits. So it's decent. It should be better, I think, but it's not too terrible. Moving into the forward kick, he's able to kick all the way forward, which is great. Backwards kick, as usual, is fairly limited, not a lot there. There is an upper thigh joint, which works really good. I'm happy with that. Double jointed knees, those also work pretty well. No upper shin cut, which would be helpful with the ankle. He can get his foot all the way back, he can get his foot forward, but that ankle rocker is angled at such a way that peg goes into the foot so that it puts it at a weird angle, so you can't really get him flat on the floor, and that's where that shin joint would have worked to help flatten that foot out. But overall, you know, I'm pretty happy with the articulation. The head articulation is a little disappointing, as is the ankle articulation, but the rest of it's pretty darn good. I can work with all of it. It's really the biggest issue is being able to have him look up, and you really can't get him to do that too much, so that's a bit of a bummer. Okay, sculpt paint on this figure. There's some really great points to the sculpt work and the paint work on this figure. And then there's a few spots that I think are a little bit weird, but not too terrible. The head sculpt, though, is definitely the winner here on this figure. I think they did a great job with this head sculpt. I think the face, the resemblance of the character is pretty spot on. I like the ears, I like the coloring. There's different color variations. There's good sculpt throughout. These ears are soft and relatively pliable, which is great. They painted them really nice with some good shading. The eyes are painted well. The teeth are painted really nicely. Moving down into the torso, I like the way that the neck and the head meet. It just feels like it's the right length. I like that the chest has some nice shading on it. Not so much shading on the arms, but there is some. So it brings it all together. The sculpt work is really, really great. There's not very many places where it's smooth, and when it is smooth, it's kind of necessary. So, I'm really happy with this. One thing that I don't like is the hips, and you can see where the thigh meets the hip joints or the hips. They're not sized right. So he's apparently wearing such extraordinarily tight spandex that it's really just making his uh, legs really, really thin. Moving down into the feet. I love these feet. I think they did a great job with the feet. Maybe a little bit more shading to make them look a little dirtier. He's walking barefooted. He probably should have dirty feet, but I think it's great. I think the legs are sculpted really, really well. Everything looks nice. The forearms with kind of the back hair. I don't know what it's called, but the hair that's on the back of his arms is great. I like that it's shaded nicely. I love the hands, the fingers. I can't remember if these are the same hands that we saw with Black Panther. I don't think they are. I feel like we've seen these hands before. Someone let me know in the comments where we've seen these hands before, or are they truly new hands? I don't know. But overall, I'm happy with the sculpt. I'm really happy with the paint. I think Hasbro did a good job. It could use a little bit of extra paint, but it's still, they gave us a lot of paint when they maybe didn't have to. Okay, so accessory wise, we don't get anything with this Jackal figure, and that's the biggest disappointment. And that's what I'm finding is kind of the trend with this wave is it feels like they kind of rushed through this wave and just gave us the figure but didn't really think about accessories. So here's what I would like to have gotten. Maybe an alternate head with a different expression. That would have been cool. I love this head sculpt, so if they had been able to give us something a little bit different, that'd be awesome. And then hands. Maybe some fist hands, maybe some hands that could hold something. You can see that these pop off. I was going to try and see if the Venom... Nope, that's not the right peg. It probably would have been the right size hand from my Venom figure from the Absorbing Man, but some sort of other hands would have been great. I don't know what. And you know what? Maybe even like a... I don't know. It just... Something else would have been good. Oh, that popped off. But overall, I'm still pretty happy with this figure because I think they did a great job with the sculpt and the paint. That's where it really pops with this figure. But again, accessory-wise, we need something else. But you know what? I think this is a definite must-have for you guys. If you're a Spider-Man fan and you need some more of his villains, Jackal, you gotta have. Obviously, you gotta have the Green Goblin as well. So I definitely recommend getting out there and getting this guy. I lucked out and got him for about $10.71 or something like that. Price match all the way. So let me know what you guys think of this figure. Is this a great figure? Was it kind of a letdown for you? Let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to find out what others are thinking.
Alrighty folks, I hope you liked this video. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button. If you haven't already done so, click the subscribe button. Check out some of my other videos. You can see them right up here and down here. Also, check out the featured video that I've got here. Every single video I'm going to feature someone else's video. Somebody who has a channel, either it's an up-and-comer like myself or somebody who's an old pro. Whatever it is, it's going to be awesome. So make sure you go check it out, like their content, subscribe to their channel, and until next time, I'll see you later.
Tech Checkers Brain Blast.